Happy November 20, guys. We are starting this episode just by saying this is our season finale. So I'm really excited to close season number 5 with such a powerful speaker, you guys. She has been with Team Beauty for over 7 years. She's about to be 8 years with us, okay? She's currently 25 weeks pregnant. And, you know, regardless, she's always been such a powerful girl. You know, I've been seeing her, how she's always working on herself. She's someone definitely that everyone aspires to be like. She's also our head coordinator in the workouts and our workout regimen. She's a trainer behind the scenes, putting the workouts together for all of our Team Beauty customers. So please give it up for our special guest, Kim Garza.
Thank you. Amazing introduction.
Kim.
I'm so happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you. You know, episode number 8 is all about filling our cup and the 5 a.m. club. So if you guys have never heard of the 5 a.m. club, it basically just means you're up at 5 working on you in some way. And, you know, I'm a witness that this girl, even pregnant, is doing that, okay? And I'm so excited to talk about this topic with her and just dissect this personal development journey with her. So I want to start with asking you, Kim, you know, what was the first time that personal development was introduced to you? And why have you kept this going?
Well, honestly, if I were telling the truth, it was when I first started Team Beauty. I kept hearing about, you know, having a great, strong mindset. And really, when you're trying to achieve any type of fitness result or goal, it starts with that. Yeah. It starts with not only a decision, but you have to have the mindset for it or you won't last. So it really started when I joined Team Beauty. And, you know, since then, I've been able to not only stay consistent with it, but really be able to do so much more. And it's something that I almost I'm addicted to it. I thrive off of it. And I almost feel like I'm missing out if I don't get it.
So it's been 8 years of you doing personal development. When did this 5 a.m., you know, routine start for you? What was that all about?
So
tell us about
5 a.m. was a little rough in the beginning. So any of you guys that are trying to do a 5 a.m. type of rhythm, just know that it's okay if you fail a couple times. The 5 a.m. didn't start for me until we had a book club, actually. And the book club was called the 5 a.m. Book Club. And the very first day I was negative about it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, people kept telling me, you got to start it. You got to start it. And I was just like, I guess, you know, how about this? If I wake up and I'm going to be in it. Right. And so I guess God woke me up at 4 something in the morning. I'm like, I'm doing it. So I jumped in. I started at that time. So I want to say that was about, I think 2 years ago at this point. So that's when the personal development at 5 a.m. started. And I couldn't let it go from then.
So it's been 2 years that you've been waking up at 5, getting your read on. And I know that you start reading. And so tell me a little bit about how your day starts when you do start at 5 a.m. Break it down for me. What happens? Is it all reading for an hour? Do you break it down? Give me the breakdown.
I feel like I get so much in doing a full hour. So I like to do a full hour. Now, it doesn't always happen, but I wake up around 4:45. Okay. No alarm clock. It's just...
Wow. So it's already instilled in you.
Yes.
Okay.
My body, my
That's
phone
amazing.
could be in another room or off. And it's just, I wake up at that time,
wow.
no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I jump into my daily devotional. I like to jump into my daily devotional, and it's actually a Joyce Meyer book, Battlefield of the Mind. So I think that's amazing for women that are, you know, having struggles with getting your mind to get to a certain place, or maybe you're dealing with any type of mental issues or any type of, we all have problems, right? Yeah. So I like to read that, and it's great for anyone because it's really going to only take about 10 to 15 minutes of your time. And then after that, I follow it with one of my favorite podcasts. Okay. Yeah.
Normally, how long is your podcast?
My podcast is 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm doing about 45 minutes before I start my day, before I do anything.
So before you do anything, you start with your devotional, right? 10 to 15 minutes. Then you go on to a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you start your workout, or how is it most of the days?
Yeah. So right after that, I'm having my tea, which my tea will give me, it's kind of like if people drink coffee, right? This is my coffee. So it's a thermogenic. It gives me good energy. It's also great for digestive health. You know, you mentioned I'm 25 weeks pregnant, so it's safe energy for me.
Awesome.
You know, and I'm not tired at that time. So it kickstarts my energy besides already feeling motivated from whatever I read or heard in my podcast. And then I jump into a workout.
I love that, Kim. You know, I was talking to Kim before we were here, guys, and I was like, okay, Kim, I'm on my way. This was like at 11 a.m. And I'm like, feel free to like make a tea while you wait, you know. And she's like, I'm on my second tea already, girl. And I'm drinking my water, so I'm fine. And I'm like, this chick is 25 weeks pregnant and it's 11 a.m. and she's already on her second tea. Okay. I need to speed up a bit, but I love it. You know, you do start your day at an earlier time. And so how has it been life changing for you, Kim? Because I mean, if you've been doing this for 2 years, it's because it's working for you, right? So how much has your life changed since you started waking up at 5 and just getting your me time early in the morning?
I think that the most important thing for me is that you're always going to hit obstacles in your life. You're always going to hit struggles. And I think developing the discipline to wake up at 5 a.m. and to fill my cup, really, which is the topic of today, fill my cup, has been able to set me up for whatever I'm going to have the rest of the day moving forward.
Yeah.
So I've been able to not only have a stronger mindset, but you get so much more done when you wake up at that time and you already get your cup filled, and then you could start filling someone else's cup.
I love that. That's so true. We can't give if our cup is not,
if you have nothing to give,
full,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So I know that you start your day with a devotional and then it's usually a podcast or a certain book. What are you currently reading right now or listening to?
Ooh, it's a good one. What am I like not reading right now? Okay. So like I said, the devotional, then a podcast. I do like to do something a little bit more spiritual when it goes to the podcast. But as far as the books that I'm reading right now, I just finished, actually yesterday, I finished Michael Todd's new book, which is Damaged but Not Destroyed.
Okay.
So that's a little bit about like trauma and healing and stuff like that. And the reason why I read that is because, like I mentioned before, I think we all have things in our past that we need to heal from.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like if you don't transform a certain area of your life, you will transfer it.
Yeah.
And so I was focusing on that. But I like to do a lot of books that have to do with business. So I'll kind of hop back and forth. Really, whatever I feel like I need to improve on is going to be my next book.
That was kind of like my next question. Do you have a season to where it's like you're choosing a certain book because you need a certain, let's say spiritual, let's say business?
Yeah.
Do you have those moments where you switch it around?
Yes. At like spot on, I'll change the book if I'm like, hey, like this book's going to be on hold because I really feel like I need to read this. I'm also reading like a pregnancy book that was given to like an older lady. And so it goes week by week. So I'm obviously on week 25, right? And tells me everything that I should be expecting, that I should be feeling, that my partner should be doing, like little things like that I should be asking my doctor. So I'm not like ever I feel like, you know, a lot of the times we have so many questions about life and what we're going through, and all the answers are there. We just don't always look for them.
Yes, we have to keep seeking. What do you recommend if someone, let's say right now, cannot develop waking up at 5 in the morning? Like it's really hard for them. Like they're listening and they're like, Kimmy, I will not be up at 5. What would you recommend that person to start doing so that they can start taking action and filling their cup?
Yeah. So I would say the best thing to do is just start with waking up an hour earlier than you normally do. Even if that's 8 o'clock, start waking up at 7 a.m. and that way you can get in some reading. Now, I know I do 45 minutes, right? But maybe you can start with 10, even 15, a devotional so that you could start to get in the rhythm of it. And then eventually you'll be able to say, okay, now I can start waking up at 6, and then now you can move to the 5:30, right? It doesn't have to be 5 a.m., but as long as you're starting your day earlier and getting some reading done, filling up your cup, however you'd like to call it, right? Before you get anywhere.
Yeah. How did you get so like strong and firm in continuing this waking up at 5? Is there days where you don't? Is there days where you rest? Is there days where you're just it just didn't happen? Do you continue? Like, how do you go about that?
I did notice that the days that I didn't, I would be once again faced with some type of obstacle. You know, I do have my own nutrition club, so I deal with a lot of customers day-to-day basis. Every hour, tons of new people walking in. So you have to deal with a lot of personalities and stuff like that. You're in a relationship, so that's already work, right?
Yes.
So I feel like the days that I didn't do that is where I knew I could have had a better attitude, or I knew I could have responded better, or I knew I could have reacted better, or came up with a better idea or solution instead of looking at the problem. So I would say it is what kind of kept me going to say, like, okay, you didn't do it today, but you're going to do it tomorrow. My rest day would probably be Sunday. Now I still wake up regardless, right? But I'll make myself go back to sleep and then, okay, wake up, like at least sleep till 7 or 8, Kim. Don't be a weirdo. It's Sunday, right? And I am pregnant, so I do tell myself it's okay to rest a little bit. So that's probably the only day that I really like to rest, on not like waking up extra early and getting it done. 'Cause I do have Sunday off, so I can like fit it in.
I love how you said, you know, you're a business owner, you have a nutrition club. And so for you, it's so important to fill your cup because, like you said, you're going to see so many people, right? And they're going to tell you so many things that's going on their day.
Yes.
I love how you said that you have to fill your cup so that you can help them, and how that's kind of made you strong to just keep doing that for yourself. So what would you tell business owners that maybe are struggling right now, that maybe they're having bad days? You know, do you think this routine can help them give more value to their customers?
Yes, and it'll also give more value to their employees or the people that they work with. When you develop a strong mindset, it doesn't matter what happens. Businesses can have high and lows. There can be, you know, the other day the water went out. You know what I mean? We didn't have water. We had to close. You know, we're always trying to have our strongest months. So whatever is gonna come through your way, you as a leader can have a great mindset if you fill up your cup before you get there, and you'll be able to treat your employees better, your coworkers better, whatever the case may be. And then of course, give to others. You know, there's a lot of people, like you said, coming in the door, and sometimes people just want to talk. I mean, we do sell shakes, right? And teas. So they're having sips tea, right? And they're talking to us.
And they want a little therapy session.
Yes. And so it's okay if you're already mentally there and prepared for it, excuse me. Because if you're not, then you're just like, you know, like, really? So, but if you're prepared for it, then you can actually give.
I love that. What are some of you? I love that you shared your devotional with us. I'm definitely going to get it myself. I have one, but like it's been the same one for 3 years. So like every same day, it's like I already have notes on last year's, you know, calling. But I'm going to go get that devotional. But what books would you say you've read this year that are one of your favorites that you would recommend? Or what book would you recommend someone to start reading if they're like new to it? Like they're going to start their reading journey. What book would you recommend for someone just starting?
Okay. So it depends on, you know, what area you really want to improve on. I'd say, you know, write down the areas of your life that you want to improve. And then you can start looking up the top authors or the top, you know, names towards that topic. And that's exactly what I did. So, you know, I would say start with, like I mentioned before, do your 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, and it can be, you know, whatever topic that you want. Look up on Audible, you can look up the 5 stars
Yeah.
and you can see which ones are the greatest books. So I would say find yourself a devotional. They have tons at Barnes and Nobles. There's tons even on Audible that you can start. The Bible app also has like different plans that you can do that last a few days, and they're only about 10 to 15 minutes. And you'll be surprised what you can get with just a little amount of time of dedicating to yourself. So I would say definitely start with that. Get yourself a devotional, depending on, there's different kinds. Mine's the battlefield of the mind, right? But there's so many different ones that are about love or about relationships or about, family. Sometimes, people are struggling with different things, even confidence.
Yeah. What are some books maybe you would recommend for someone that wants to start their personal development journey?
There's a few books that now, when I first started my personal development journey I kind of like tapped through all those books already. So it's been a while since I just did a basic personal development book. I would say that I actually wasn't a fan of reading. So I started off with YouTube.
Okay.
So I
good.
would say before you jump into reading, you can just start with YouTube if that works for you. For me, I was like, reading super boring. Why would I be in a book club, right? Until I got in a book club.
Exactly.
But I would start with YouTube videos, and those can be anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. So I'd say start with that, and you can literally just type in YouTube personal development and you'll see all the top motivational speakers. And then from there, you'll get a great idea of who you already start to like.
Exactly. I feel like, everyone has their niche. Like, I like people that yell. Okay. I'll
Me
be
too.
like Tony
Me too.
Robbins. I'll be like Eric Thomas.
Like, yell at me so I can listen.
Yell at me because I'm a yeller, right? And then, of course, there's but I also like sometimes like Jim Rohn, how he's so
Yes.
calm. So I think it all depends on your mood and how intense you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are definitely some of my top ones and favorite ones I would recommend to anyone. Also, the book The 12 Pillars, I think, by Jim Rohn.
Yeah, that one's a great book.
It's
I've finished
a
that
great
one.
book to start, for personal development. It talks about 12 pillars, right? And each chapter is a different pillar for your success. So I love definitely those authors and those
That
books
one's
to
a
start
great
off.
one also for business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we also have the business aspect. So like, what are some of your favorite business books or authors?
That is a subject that I could talk a lot about. So
Yes.
I really like the 10X rule.
Okay.
Every time I feel like I'm starting to get soft with my business or maybe start to put myself down in a certain area, or, sometimes, businesses go through their highs and lows, right? Like I mentioned before. And it's important when you're a business owner for you to keep your shoulders back and head high. And I feel like the 10X rule with Grant Cardone, I've read all of his books, actually, except the real estate ones. They're great books, and they're really going to kind of like slap you around, yell at you to just be like, hey, kick it in action. This is what you wanted. Remember why you started.
And I love that book also on Audible, Kim, because he's like yelling at you.
Yes, and it's him.
It's his actual voice
It's his
yelling at you.
voice.
You're like, okay.
That's the cool thing about Audible, guys. If you feel like you're not a great reader, you can listen to an Audible, and then you're going to actually have the author reading it to you most of the time.
Exactly, Kim. I feel like for, moms, if you're a mom out there, I know Kim's
Multitask.
about to start in that journey. But for me, I'm waking up, changing diapers, trying to get my tea in, and I don't really have the time to sit and read without interruption. So definitely Audible. Thank you for saying that, Kim, because maybe a lot of our listeners don't know about that, right? It's an app. Okay, you download it, you get credits every month. You're able to choose a book each month, and you can listen to it. So somebody's reading it to you. You can even have it on speaker. So like sometimes I'm washing dishes and I'm listening to a book, right? And I think that that's so important, because just because you're a mom, just because you're busy, doesn't mean you don't have time to personally develop or read or listen, right? So I think that was very important to touch on that.
And what most people may not know is that if you have an Amazon Prime account, which I think everyone does, especially now that the holidays are coming up, like we've got to order gifts and stuff. If you have an Amazon Prime account, then you already probably have credits already
That's
available.
awesome. I didn't even know
It
that.
links, yes.
That's awesome. Kim, how many books would you say you maybe read in a year?
In a year, so I read that the most successful people read 40 to 60 books a year. How?
Okay.
I don't know. That's my goal, right?
Write that down, guys.
But honestly, I would say I do about 20 to 25.
Wow,
Yes.
that is amazing.
Yeah. Some of them, you can run through them. And in the beginning, when I first read that the most successful people read 40 to 60 books, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to read so many books.
Yes.
But it's important sometimes to take your time on a book.
Be realistic.
Now I will reread chapters. I'll reread a book if I know I need to hear it again. It's not about how fast you go. It's about what you get out of it.
So true, Kim. I also read that, and I remember I was like, okay, it's going to be a book a week. A book a week.
Yeah.
And so I'd be so disappointed because I would be like, okay, it's a book a month. I only did a book a month. But then I'm like, hey, that's 12 books in a year. I didn't do that last year. Last year, I probably read 1 or 2. So it's crazy how when you set goals for yourself, how many books are you going to read this coming year? That's a question I want to ask our listeners, Kim, because that's probably a question they haven't asked themselves. So I want to make that question to you guys. How many books will you read in 2024? Write that down and set the goal. I think a lot of the times, Kim, people do not know how to set goals. And I feel like that's so important for you to start, growing and getting better, setting goals. What are some things that you do to set goals? How do you set goals for yourself? Is it monthly? Is it yearly? How do you do that?
So what I like to do is I do yearly, and then at 6-month marker, I'm like, okay, how am I doing so far? What do I need to reanalyze? What do I need to change? What do I need to omit? What do I need to add? Right? So I do it at the very beginning of the year. And, set your goals high is what I would say. So if you're not even a reader and you say, oh my God, 10 books in 1 year is a lot, set it.
Yeah.
Because if you land among the 8 or the 5, hey, that's more than what you did last year. Yeah. So I like to look at my life, and, there's so many different categories, spiritual, maturity, right? That could be something that you want to improve on. I know that was mine for this year.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like I've really improved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's, of course, relationships, there's financial, there's business. And then, there's the personal, right? And stuff like health, fitness, all of that. I feel like I've already conquered those.
Yeah.
So I don't really have to, it's just something that I've already created a lifestyle. So it's never really like a huge thing on my goal list unless it's like gain 5 more pounds of muscle or something.
Yeah.
But the things that I struggle on is what it's going to be my main focus and where I like to aim high. So I think that's important. Take a look at what you're really struggling, even if it's hard to look at. Some of us, I know some of my family members and friends, they need to lose about 20, 30, 50, 100 pounds, and write it down, even if it seems scary, and see where you can land by your 6-month marker. Then take a look at it and like, how am I doing? Did I already give up in March, or am I still going? Cool. If you did, that's okay. You're at the halfway marker. You've got the rest of the year.
I love that, Kim. So you went over the categories, right? So how many categories were there? I want to write them down. So you said
so spiritual maturity, or spiritual, your health, your fitness, financial goals, of course, business goals. They kind of go hand in hand, but they're a little bit separate.
Yeah.
And then also, mental health. Mental and spiritual can go together. Yeah. And relationships. Yes, that's important.
Like you said, the answers are there, but are we seeking, right? Sometimes we say, I want to become a better listener. There's books on that. Sometimes, you're like, I want to be a better speaker. There's books on that. I want to be a better communicator. There's books on that, right? So the answers are there. It's just kind of like, I like how you said there's categories, right? And so what is it that you're going to need in 2024? What category are you going to circle for 2024? And then that's how you're going to choose your books, right? So
exactly.
I want to work on my spiritual and mental health. And I know you shared the book of Todd. What was it called?
The Michael Todd, yes. Damaged but Not Destroyed.
Thank you for sharing that, right? And then maybe you don't have to be Kim, you don't have to be Valeria, right? Maybe your focus is on health. Maybe you want to lose 5 to 10 pounds. Maybe you want to learn more about muscles and how they work. So maybe you're going to focus on the health and fitness category, right? Or maybe you're having financial issues and you're like, you know what? My focus is going to be financial. So I love it, Kim. Thanks for breaking down the categories with us.
You're welcome.
And giving us those action steps for us to start a nice 2024. You know, we're almost ending the year, but the year's not over. We still have November, December. What books are you going to read these months? How are you going to better your life? I want to give thanks to Kim for being with us today.
You're welcome.
For pouring your heart with us, for sharing all of your nuggets with us. I had a lot of fun.
Me too.
Took a lot of notes. And, you know, Kim, I also want to end by giving thanks to all of our speakers for season 5. I know we started with Jerry, Brittany, Nelly Polanco, Selena, Marbella, you know, Kimmy, Diego. I want to give it up for Diego, guys, because he's been working harder than all of us here, okay? Behind the scenes with the lighting, the whole production, okay? He's been amazing with our production. So special thanks to Diego for making us look so cool, okay? And also for speaking. He was one of our guests,
Oh, that's
Kim.
right.
And I just want to remind everyone that if this episode or any last episode have added any value to you, please share it with someone. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and our Spotify so that you can get notifications when we launch the next episodes. So thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much, listeners. That was season 5. It's so amazing. And Kim, now that you're here and we're ending this season, I want to tell everyone what the next season will be all about. So Kim, next season is going to be a book club.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's perfect.
I love it.
That's exactly what you need.
Yes. So be on the lookout for the next launch for the next season, you guys. It's been an amazing ride. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.